Meantime, this morning we got the update on the PPP funding program there from the Treasury and the Small Business Administration, revealing a couple key data points there. Importantly, I guess, making it clear how many jobs were saved by that program. More than 51.1 million jobs saved, according to the data that was released. And for more on that data and the overall talking points, I want to bring on Yahoo Finance's Jessica Smith, who has the details. Jessica?
Yeah, Zach, this is the most detailed look at the data of the Paycheck Protection Program that we've gotten so far. Treasury and SBA did release the names of the businesses that received a Paycheck Protection Program loan of more than $150,000. You'll remember this was pretty controversial. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin initially signaled that he was not going to release the names of businesses that got PPP loans, but then you had that backlash and that pressure from Congress, and they ultimately reversed course, saying they would release the names of businesses that received loans of more than $150,000. So here's some of what we learned today. We've learned that the SBA has approved about 4.9 million loans. That totals about $521 billion. And that means there is about $132 billion left in this program. The president did sign a bill extending this program until August 8th over the weekend. And then looking at some of the jobs, as you mentioned, the jobs that are supported by this program, the SBA says that's 51 million jobs, but that is according to what borrowers themselves reported when they were applying for the loans. And then we want to look at some of the industries that received the most money from this program: health and social assistances, and as well as professional, scientific, and technical services. Each got about 13% of the PPP dollars. Construction got about 12.5%, and manufacturing got 10.5%. Accommodation and food services received about 8% of the funding. There's also a state-by-state breakdown released today. Businesses in California received the most money. That's $68 billion. Texas came next, receiving more than $41 billion. Followed by New York, and then rounding out the top four is Florida. Florida received $38.3 billion. Again, SBA didn't release the names of businesses that received loans smaller than $150,000, and many lawmakers still want to see that info. We did hear just in the past few minutes from Democratic leader Chuck Schumer saying that this is a good first step, but Congress still wants to see more. Zach?
And interesting to note here as well that we saw $30 billion worth of loans canceled in that data set as well. That would include money that was returned by some of these companies as well. Of course, we can't overlook the political pressure that kind of came in the backlash wave here when more and more names were revealed for applying for PPP funding. You remember Shake Shack and Ruth Chris Steakhouse being among some of those that did return the money after that backlash. I'm curious, Jess, just when we think about the political favorability of this program has kind of swung back and forth. And I would assume the emphasis here on the job count would do more there to keep favorability intact and really focusing on the Americans that are saved by this program rather than maybe perhaps some of the brand names or companies being the ones that are quote unquote benefiting from something like this.
You know, I think lawmakers in both parties have been pretty supportive of this program. Democratic lawmakers have wanted more transparency. They've wanted more rules in place to prevent companies, like you mentioned, those big public companies, from taking those loans. So they did kind of get those things out of the way after we saw those bumps in the rollback in the beginning. And now they're looking at what to do going forward and what to do with this $130 billion that remains. We are hearing from some who want to make sure certain businesses can get a second PPP loan. So that's going to be something up for debate in phase 4, what exactly to do with that remaining money. Treasury Secretary Mnuchin has said that he wants to make sure it goes to certain industries that were hardest hit by the virus. So we'll see how that plays out when lawmakers start negotiating on phase 4 in the coming weeks.
Yeah, and probably not a mistake or a coincidence, rather, here to see the breakdown here from rural and non-rural locations here enjoying in this funding as well, to make sure everyone seems to be equally benefiting from all this. But Jessica Smith, appreciate you bringing us that breakdown. Hey investors, Zack Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.